gone, and they don't call Sean. Helps to feel like.
What's up, guys? We're back, baby. We're back. This is the new thing.
Is Mitchell frozen?
No.
He legit looked frozen.
You actually looked like super frozen.
Yeah. It looked kind of pixelated too. I was like, oh.
I've been working on it. It comes in handy in the education world.
Because sometimes you've actually been frozen in our podcast before, so.
Yeah.
I will give you that.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like, I'm practicing it, so when I'm on Zoom with my students, I can just... And hopefully they'll just all log off, and then I'm done for the day.
There you go.
They're like, well, he's frozen, so I guess we're done. Like, you don't even try to get back on. Like, you don't even, like, email them or anything. You're just like...
My bad, guy.
Internet's down. Like, I'm done.
Yeah. And that's it for today.
Well, boys, how was the Super Bowl weekend?
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
I loved every second of it.
Even though the game was a little boring.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
The game was definitely boring. I loved every second of it, but the game was boring. Like, it's no Patriots versus Falcons when the Patriots make a gigantic comeback in the second half.
True.
Like, that's exciting. Unless you're a Falcons fan.
Yeah, unless you're a Falcons fan, you never want to.
Unless you're Dan Quinn.
Yeah.
Also true. But I mean, I guess to me, it just was enjoyable to continue to watch. Like, yeah, I guess it wasn't super exciting. But I loved watching it, and I loved watching the GOAT at work. Like, that absolutely, we talked about it before, but once, like, for all the marbles and to end the conversation, there is no conversation anymore. Like, I think Brooks, maybe even you said it, like, quite possibly not even the GOAT of just football. Like, this guy is unreal. Like, that's 7
He's
rings.
past MJ now with championships.
Yeah, right.
That's a big milestone.
I mean that, and
7.
it's and he's doing it. I don't know. Like, he carried a new team. He's still fresh. Like, I totally think he's got a shot to do it again next year.
Absolutely.
That team has a little bit of cap space to play around with in the offseason still too. They could make a couple more moves even and make them even stronger. They're not going to lose a whole lot, like we talked about. There's a couple pieces here and there, but it's not the big critical ones. I mean, I thought, and Brooks, you made this point when we were talking. I thought that was such a good game plan.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think, and I think that that's part of the reason that off air we talked about a little bit. Is this the start of the slow decline of the Chiefs dynasty? Like we talked about, the Seahawks were bound for dynasty, and the Chiefs have now literally taken the same path with Mahomes. So the first year losing in the playoffs, winning the Super Bowl, and then literally both losing to Tom. Is this the slow decline that we're going to see from the Kansas City Chiefs? Did Tampa Bay bring something up? Did they find something? Did Todd Bowles on the defensive side, did he crack the code? Like, are people going to be able to watch that game field and crack the code of Patrick Mahomes and in the Chiefs offense?
I think it's not only them, like other teams being able to crack the code. I think it's other teams in the AFC just continuing to get better.
Yeah.
Look at the Bills. Look at the Ravens. Look at the Titans. Look at the Colts. Colts find a quarterback. They're up there. So not only are the teams going to like replicate what the Bucks try to do, and they did on Sunday, but these teams are young and they're just going to keep getting better. So it's a whole different landscape than what we were looking at the same time last year. At the same time last year, we were like, oh, Chiefs are going to dominate the AFC forever. That's a whole different thing now, and now it looks like they're not the unbeatable team that we thought they were.
And I think the walls of Jericho in their locker room are starting to fall a little bit. That was a real frustrated and a real vocal and a real going at each other defense that we saw yesterday. And granted, like, yeah, that is frustrating to do that in the Super Bowl and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, that was a lot of personalities and a lot of hot heads that were clashing and all that stuff. I don't know, like, how long you can keep that down. I mean, we saw the dismantling of the Legion of Boom in Seattle. I think that was a little bit more of an administration kind of decision that I'm still not super happy about. But could we see the Chiefs defense dismantle themselves, which you don't have a good defense and it gets pretty tough, especially like you said, when people are maybe starting to figure things out on them. It's a whole new world.
Yeah, I definitely do think that they're going to start some form of a decline, but the way that Patrick Mahomes approaches every game, they're never. I think they'll never be out of it. Just like the Seahawks never really got out of it. They missed the playoffs one year. They got back into it. They're still a competitive team. Patrick Mahomes bring that same mentality, and you look at what he did late game. They were done.
Mhm.
Throwing that ball he threw sideways, not touching the ground.
Yeah.
That was one of the best throws I've ever seen in my entire life, let alone not being on your feet.
It should have been a touchdown.
It should have been a
Yeah.
touchdown. It literally went that's the second pass that went straight through his receiver's hands and hit off their face mask.
I think I'm gonna send you a TikTok, Brooks, that to put on the social media so that people can know what I'm talking about. It was probably the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life, but it was a TikTok of this kid in his football pads, and it was like Patrick Mahomes at the Super Bowl, and he would like catch the snap, and like 12 guys would be on top of him, and he makes this unreal throw, and it's obviously not a real throw because he throws it, and then it goes to his wide receiver, and it's like a perfect throw to him, and he like has his hands like this, and it just
It hits
hits
it.
him in the face back.
I saw that one.
Hits him.
Was it
The
by,
ref-
was it Dockery? Was it Dockery?
I think so. The one where the
Yeah.
refs chasing him and throwing
Yeah.
flags at him on stuff.
Yeah, I saw that one.
I laughed
yeah.
so hard. It was true. I mean, there was a lot of missed opportunities, but like for people to come out and say that the Chiefs got robbed of it and all that stuff, but look at how well Patrick Mahomes played with no help and all that stuff. Like, do you know how many teams have that? Like,
Yeah.
it would have been the same thing. Like the Seahawks, I thought that there's been multiple and plenty of years where we're like, dude, Russ performed so well, but nobody caught the ball for him, nobody blocked for him, nobody did all that kind of stuff. Well, yeah, because you don't have a full rounded team.
Mm-hmm.
Like we talked about this, they have this speed on the outside, but like the people he was thrown to, what was that guy's name that was the returner for them?
On the Chiefs?
Yeah,
Oh, I couldn't tell you.
dang it, I'm losing it. I'll look it up, but it's like that guy's not a good receiver, and he's their third option out there. But it's
Yeah.
because they were so fast. So when you get to the part where you got to really rely on your skill, like I think that's what Tampa Bay was starting to show. Like you take away some of these options that they have, and they have to force it to these other people. They're not going to catch the ball all the time. They're not that good.
Yeah.
What's
The Bucks
crazy?
need to-
You go,
Oh,
Brian.
go ahead.
Go. There you
I
go.
was just saying the Bucks need to bring their A game in terms of defense,
Yeah.
and they brought it. I mean,
They brought it.
to hold Mahomes to not a single touchdown pass in the Super Bowl, let alone the first time ever done by him, literally not throwing a touchdown pass, to be able to do that in the Super Bowl in that big of a game. I mean, they were outstanding. By far the best defensive showing I've seen this entire season.
Absolutely. Yeah. What's crazy to me is that the lack of the Chiefs' game plan was not up to par of what we saw all season from them. They seem unprepared in a way. Like you have one of the best defensive lines coming at you. Even Mahomes before the week was saying, "Oh, we gotta know where Vita Vea is like out of the field all the time. We gotta know where Devin White is on the field all the time." But like the whole time, I saw a stat. The whole time they never had more than 5 protecting Mahomes. Once you see that they're like killing their own line, wouldn't you want to like keep a running back there and help pass protect? They didn't adjust.
Yeah.
And that's something we know, like as Seahawks fans, like we know all about like not adjusting, but usually Andy Reid is a guy to adjust.
Yeah, I
Like,
think I think they got punched in the mouth from the get go and were shocked the rest of the
Mhm.
fight. Like I think that was not how Andy Reid saw it going at all and all that kind of stuff. And I think it takes a shot. And I definitely think like Patty probably wasn't 100%. But I always hate when it literally a day after a loss, a day after a Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes to have toe surgery. Like people go through injuries all the time. Yes, that one was probably a little bit more killer because he does use his legs a little bit more and it brings him down and all that kind of stuff. But I'm almost like I'm still pretty sold on the fact that I think Russ had like a brain injury for the second half of the season, and so
Guy got shook.
like I mean that's a thing too. But we don't see actually. You don't typically see him complaining, but
Did you guys see like
he's complaining.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. We're getting to that.
Byron Pringle, by the way, that's the guy.
That's
who I was
him. Yeah,
Pringle.
yeah.
I knew it was a
Pringle.
chip.
Did you guys see Mahomes' fiance or whatever, like, and his mom like complaining on Twitter like about the refs and stuff?
Yeah.
And lots of other people were complaining about the refs too. I'm like,
The refs
you
did
lost
not
31
decide this
to
game.
9.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm with that take too, and I'm also with the take of I don't know. Maybe I'll give you the pass in the end zone was maybe uncatchable and all that kind of stuff. But dude, when you wrap a guy up, you can't sit there. They even had the official supervisor or whatever they call him, that guy that always comes in and explains the fouls and all that kind of stuff. They had him come in and he literally said, like, when they take it out of your hands so early in that pass and in that route, you can't guess that he wasn't going to be there. You can't guess that a professional athlete who's playing the NFL can't jump more than 2 feet in the air, kind of thing. Like that could have been a very easily catch ball for Mike Evans. Like Mike Evans can get up there. The one on the sideline, I don't know what people are complaining about. Anyways, he got tripped up and the ball still only landed 2 yards in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's definitely catching that in stride, if not laying out and at least putting a hand on it. So that's a flag. Like,
Yeah.
They're like, oh well, look at how lopsided it was. I didn't see the Tampa Bay defense literally wrapping receivers up as they were making their routes.
I was about to say that. It's not like they weren't calling it the other way. There was nothing going on. Like they were playing good, sound defense. I didn't see any. Oh, that was a hold. That was a PI.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's just
and when
like,
they did call it. It just they weren't dumb enough to do it in that big of situations. Like they didn't do it on streak routes. They didn't do it. There was a couple PIs called on them. And they were like the 5-yard ins and all that kind of stuff that they held somebody. They held Tyreek. They held Travis Kelce and all that stuff. But they didn't do it 50 yards down the field or in the end zone and all that stuff. Just because they did it in more critical times doesn't mean. And I saw somebody a comment too that the girl ref was the worst ref I've ever seen in Super Bowl history and blah blah because there was so many pass interference and all that stuff. She was a line judge. Her sole calls would be offsides or false starts and all that stuff. So literally, she didn't call those pass interferences. Get a clue.
I didn't send you
People
guys this.
for people to blame
Yeah.
at that point.
I didn't send you guys this, but I saw a prop bet that was Will. Did I send you this, Mitch?
I don't know. I don't
It
think
was
so.
where Will Sarah Thomas, the girl ref, get
Uh-huh.
knocked over by a player, and you could bet yes or no.
Oh my gosh.
And the odds were like so heavily in favor of no, obviously, but it was like plus 700 for yes.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I saw one play. It was like a screenplay where there were like 3 guys coming at her,
And you were like,
and
oh.
but it was incomplete. So I'm like, if that's completed, like there's a chance like she she takes a hit. But
The inner gambler in Brooks was getting excited on
I was
that
like,
play. He was like, "Oh,
I didn't bet on
plus
it, no.
plus 700." Yeah, I saw some pretty funny ones with that too. Like the I laughed pretty hard at the one that said that Sarah Thomas is gonna call a penalty on Tyreek Evans for something he said 3 weeks to her ago or something like that. Like I chuckled at that, but I personally thought that she did like I didn't notice her, which was good. Like I don't ever notice officials. So I think she did just as good of a job as
to
any
me,
of the
it
other
doesn't
officials.
matter like what gender they are. Like
Yeah.
get the best refs out there. I don't care.
Exactly.
You're a boy or a girl.
Yeah,
She deserved the spot that she had. I think she's done a good job since she's become the first female NFL referee.
And
And
massive respect because like it takes a lot of
Massive
guts
respect.
to like be able to handle probably all the like hate like she's getting and just
So-
getting yelled at on the sideline if you're a line judge.
not even on this, like not counting in the sideline, but the 24 massive amounts of testosterone on the field when we already know that testosterone like goes and attacks women in general. Like if I was a girl, I wouldn't put myself in that spot. Like she's getting called names. You know that somebody's like, oh, this stupid girl who doesn't know what she's doing and all that stuff. And I thought she did great.
She
Like,
knows damn well what she's doing. Absolutely.
the only thing that would have made it better if she was the one that would have bolted across the field and laid that streaker out.
Can you
Like, I would've-
imagine?
Oh,
Yeah.
that would have been awesome. But yeah, but I thought overall, I agree with you guys. It wasn't a super exciting game, but I just thought that it was pretty cool to watch Tom do his thing. And it was funny. I think Brooks was the one that said TB and TB won this game. Tom Brady and Todd Bowles won that game for them. Like
absolutely.
that was an absolute masterful plan on defense. They took the high and the low away from Tyreek the whole time. I thought they played Kelsey great the whole time, and I really think it shocked the Chiefs offense. They were like, what in the world? We didn't think that they could take away both of them. I think the game plan was, let's go out there, figure out which one they're going to focus on and use the other one. And they figured out a way to take away both of them. And it was muy magnifique. Like it was impressive to me. And then, like I said, the dude's still slinging it. How old is Brady? 40,000 years old?
43.
43? Like,
Dude
that's
has
crazy.
Like Super Bowl caliber play left in him for at least another 2 years. The
I
way that he's looking, I mean, it's phenomenal.
I threw 3 rounds of BP last night, and my shoulder's killing me at 26, and this guy's out here slinging balls around at 43. Like, what?
And watching Drew Brees this year and his decline, I think that just shows you how just like how crazy it is that Brady's just still playing at this like high of a level right now at age 43, because Breeze is only 40 this year.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Brady's 3 years older than that, and he's still like I would still put him in the top 10 like quarterback rankings easily.
By
He looks
far.
better
And
now.
Breeze
than he did
looked
in the rookie
awful
season.
this year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's the
and-
perfect
and-
comparison. That shows you how like and Breeze is like one of the greatest of all time too.
Yeah, and
He's right
and
up there.
not even end of the year Breeze, like post, like pre ribs Breeze, like when he had all 70,000 ribs that are in your body completely intact, like he still looked bad for Drew Brees. Obviously, he's still in the top 15 of the league and all that stuff. Like he's still a good
He's still
quarterback.
Drew Brees.
Oh, yeah.
But like you said, like I mean, I put Tom Brady at least top 5. Like I mean, the dude, he won the Super Bowl. He looks good. He slings it. They talked about the fact that he adapted now. He didn't throw the short routes like he did with the Pats and let kids run all that kind of stuff. He had to adapt to Bruce Arians' offense, more like Byron Leftwich's offense. And they wanted to throw the ball down the field a little bit more. And they both kind of adapted to each other. But they said that the biggest change that had to be made was telling Brady, dude, you got to throw the ball down the field. Like you got Mike Evans, you got Scotty Miller, who's pretty stinking fast on the outside. You got these deep threats. You've got to be able to use them so that you can open up. And we saw that. Like he looked for those deep threats, and then playoff Lenny was wide open in the middle on his check down because of those, and it made it even better. Like I don't know, like that, guys. Is that one of the best performances by TB12? Taking into account who he played, how he did it, the age and all that kind of stuff. Like was that one of his best Super Bowl performances?
I think overall, absolutely. Overall, just the Bucks in general, that was one of the best performances as a team.
Yeah,
Because we talked about the defense already, but yeah, now the offense, it was just so efficient. Like every play seemed like they were getting 10, 12 yards. Like give it to Lenny, throw it on the outside to Antonio. Like there was just the perfect game plan. Brady was on the money. Fournette was playing like he did a few years ago in Jacksonville.
Get him, Hawks, get him.
They all came together at the right time in the playoffs, and that's what we should have saw coming into the playoffs anyway. Because they struggled at the beginning of the year, but I know Mitch, like me and you, Mitch, we never like doubted them like other people did. Like we knew they were going to get going eventually.
Yeah.
But we should have expected this. They clicked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I think unbiasedly, even though we are Hawk fans, I think that one of the best performances that we've seen is the Hawks against Denver. I mean, that was a complete manhandling of a high-powered offense at the time, a decent offense at the time, all that kind of stuff. But with that, like, I don't know why I said high-powered, because their for the Broncos, the defense is really what put him there. That was the slow decline
Number
of
one
Peyton,
defense
and he kind of just got carried by it and all that kind of stuff. So
wait, what you're talking about?
When we beat Peyton.
No, Denver was the
number
number
one
one.
offense versus
Denver
number
was the
one
number one offense. We were the number one defense.
Oh, okay.
vice
You're
versa.
thinking of Super Bowl 50. Super Bowl 50, Peyton was carried by the defense.
Gotcha. Yes.
But this, that was such a good performance by us.
Yeah,
because
that one was pretty good. But I think overall, like, that was just unreal because the Chiefs were so much better. It wasn't just a really good offense against a really good defense, all that stuff. Like, to me, in my eyes, going into this, the Chiefs had a really good offense and a really good defense too. Like they were holding people down too. They were making plays. They were scoring touchdowns on defense on stuff, and they did none of that.
I think that like the perfect comparison is like our Super Bowl 40. What was it? 48
when we won.
Yeah, that's a perfect comparison because you have everyone was liking the Broncos that game. I think they were favorites, right? Yeah.
Probably.
So everyone's thinking, oh, like, yeah, Legion Boom, they're good. How are they going to stop Peyton Manning and Demaryius Thomas and Eric Decker? And we came here and just, like, shut them down completely, and they looked just, like, lost out there. Yeah. And that's exactly what we saw this last Sunday. Mahomes looked lost out there. They were getting pressure on him every play, and he just didn't know where to go with the ball.
The game was decided by far in the second quarter.
Yeah, it was.
Absolutely.
Did Brady only get one sack that whole game, too?
I don't think did he get sacked? Yeah, he did get sacked. He got once. He was only pressured.
I think
he was only pressured 4 times though.
That's what I'm saying. The first,
so the offensive line played amazing and the holes they opened up for Lenny.
Yeah, their first 2 offensive series were 3 and outs, and then after that, it was just a steam.
They couldn't get stopped. Couldn't get stopped.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about. Tom Brady is by far not only is he the best quarterback, we know that, But he's an unreal level that'll never be reached when he's not pressured. Like your game plan has to be to pressure him and to take the chance of him being able to beat the blitz, because if you don't bring pressure at all, like you're just totally screwed. If you give him time to sit back there, he's going to pick everything apart.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's the most elite pocket quarterback that I think we've ever seen. I mean, you have other great examples like Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning he was not mobile. I would say even Phillip Rivers is not mobile. Like those two quarterbacks are some of the best that we've seen within at least our lifetime. But Tom Brady is even leaps above them just because of his performance and his presence in a pocket and being able to command the offense. Again, the first two offensive series, they went 3-and-out. And I think Brady just kind of locked it down after that. He finally was like, you know what? This is what I'm seeing. This is what we need to do to adapt. And then, like I said, it was just a steamroll after that.
Yeah, I agree. I always forget to pull up my comments. I've missed so many comments.
And it's just like, it just shows you like what Brady's presence can do to a team. This was a team that was 7-9 last year. That was pretty much the same core. Like, yeah, you had Fournette, you had Antonio Brown, you had Gronk, you had Antoine Winfield, and who else? Like, there's someone else who came over on defense too. I forgot. But this is a team that was 7-9. You add Tom Brady, and now you're winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You have. I think it's just like it brings a different energy to a team when you have a guy like Brady. Like, yeah, though Brady didn't play the best like throughout the whole year, I think you just have that mentality of like, we're going to go win, and I think Brady puts that inside of them.
It's like you said, that leadership factor that he has to him. It's unreal. I mean, like we've talked about many a times, like taking a pay cut and not getting as much money. Like that's an unreal leadership move. I wouldn't do that. I'm taking all the money that I'm worth. He's the best quarterback in the league. He's the best quarterback to ever play the game, all that stuff. He should have the highest paid contract, and he doesn't. It's simple as that. The leadership he displays on and off the field. People talk wonders about him, all that kind of stuff. It's pretty impressive to see what he's still going to continue to do after this year too. But I think like we talked about, it was an unreal game plan, executed perfectly. And I compare him to like a Triple H of the WWE world.
I love me some Triple H.
He's the assassin. Like he's the one that's able to go out there and execute a game plan. I loved not as much, honestly. Actually, sometimes it got boring when I watched him get somebody on the ground and just pound on one knee or something like that and then take it eventually and all that kind of stuff. But that's what Brady does too. Like he finds your weaknesses and he picks it out and he kills you down and he beats you down and then he just absolutely pulverizes you. Like I love it. I love every second of it. Now that he's away from the Patriots, go TB12.
So do you think their late bye within the season gave them a little bit extra surge, at least going into the playoffs? I mean, it was pretty evident that with the Buccaneers, they lost their 3 games, one of those to the Chiefs before their late bye. They were the last team in the NFL to get a bye. And then they came out hot. They get the week off for the first round of the playoffs. They get a week off for the Super Bowl. They had a lot of time to rest up and be healthy for this game. And I think that itself plays a huge part as well into just the demeanor of coming in, feeling rested, healthy, and being confident in the team that's on the field. That as well, just I think, of course, that's luck of the draw in terms of bye week.
Yeah.
But being able to go into the playoffs and late into the season fresh and healthy was huge.
It's always better to have that late bye in the schedule. It does tremendous things for a team because, like, you're going 11 straight weeks to have that rest, like, that late in the season. It's such an advantage over other teams because for teams that are getting it, like, week 5. Like, after that week 5 bye, you're going 11 straight weeks into the playoffs. It's just so much better for a team to have it late.
Yeah, I think it definitely benefited that, but also I think personally in my mind too, I think that the late bye is what made them click so late in the season. I think that they get that early bye, and Tom and Todd Bowles and Bruce Arians is a genius he's right up there with the Andy Reids of the world and all that kind of stuff. Like he knows how to put his staff together and he knows how to run it and all that kind of stuff. I thought he did a great job. Dude, he's good. He just won a Super Bowl.
That was a phenomenal staff.
That was awesome. He put together a great staff.
I wouldn't put him on Andy Reid level, but
continue.
I
put him there.
Continue.
But they do it earlier in the year and they click after that bye, I think still, and they make a run for a higher seed, which gets them a little bit easier games and all that kind of stuff. So I think, but definitely having that rest helped big time. I mean, you have a veteran like Tom Brady, and you have those pieces and all. Okay, I think it helps big time.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting. This is going to be. I think it's going to be a dogfight in both leagues again next year. Because I definitely don't look at Tampa Bay and say, "Ooh," like after the Chiefs won last year. It's not the feeling of, "Ooh," like this is Tampa Bay's world and we're all just living in it kind of thing. I still, like I said, they're definitely playoff. They're definitely in the playoffs and definitely contending for a Super Bowl, I think, because they can, and if they make those couple moves that we talked about possibly in the offseason, bolster some couple different places, then maybe it's a different conversation. But you still, like, Aaron stays in Green Bay, you still got a Green Bay team that's pretty solid. Maybe there's some moves made by the Seahawks this offseason, and you got a Seahawks team that is scary.
Rams got Stafford now.
The Rams got Stafford, who we talked about. I hate that because he's in our league now, and I think Stafford's great to fit in there and all that kind of stuff. You never know what kind of bounds the Cardinals make. There's lots of teams over there on that side that can do it, and I think that the other side is an absolute dogfight now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and with the back to the Bucks a little bit, people are gonna be ring tracing. They're gonna be wanting to come to the Bucks to like try and get a ring. So I think we're gonna see an influx of more veteran players come to Tampa, come with Brady, just like for that last like run of like I'm gonna try to get a ring before I retire.
Yeah, that could be interesting. And Resolute made the statement that I think it totally was. It wasn't just Tom adjusting to the offense that was being played, and it took a while for him to adjust. I think it took a while for everybody to adjust to each other. Like I talked about, I think there was a little bit of give and take between him and Byron. They started to get back to the run a little bit more. TB12 is amazing off the play action. So when you pound that ball a little bit more and you're able to go, it's kind of like back in the old days of like a Mike Allstott or a Warwick Dunn or all that kind of stuff. Like just absolutely pound the rock and let it just absolutely fly. Because I mean, you saw it in the Super Bowl. They were absolutely fooled a lot of times on play actions, and it was like Tom had wide open people, and he's not missing that. Like, so even if you give him a step, he's getting it. We saw that Scotty Miller throw pass to end the first half in the conference championship. I mean, that's what he does. You can't give him that step because he sees it and he makes the throw, and it was impressive to me. Like you guys said, it kind of got to a boring game. Some of the commercials were actually really funny. Like I was all for that. I tried to count the Mountain Dew bottles at the beginning, and then all of a sudden they started coming out of the trunk and stuff. And I was like, well, I'm just gonna throw a random number out there on Twitter and hope that I win $1 million. And then after I watched and saw that a bunch of people were like up in the 400s, and I said 123, I was like, well, I didn't win that one. But I thought that it was impressive to watch just the absolute dismantling of a team that was high power.
It was really fun. That was fun to watch. Like, yeah, the game was exciting, but it was really fun to watch. I kept like rooting for the Buccaneers to keep scoring at the end. Like it was fun to keep like watching running it up. Honestly,
definitely.
It was a fun team to watch, and I enjoyed watching them all year actually. Like, cause you have so much talent on the offense and the defense. You like we talked about earlier. You just knew they were going to click at some point. And they did.
It was pretty impressive, and it was definitely nice to watch the second half and see some things that were like, oh, this is good. Like keep it down to ground, some bombs and all that stuff. After the whole halftime, I was sitting here like this. Did you watch him? Did you watch the weekend?
Yeah, in the little with the camera.
When he went back there,
stumbling through, it was
like
hilarious.
it
Have
actually
you seen the memes. They're hilarious.
Oh yeah.
By far the best.
I actually thought it was a really cool show. Like I was
great.
I was pretty entertained, all that kind of stuff. I think that a bunch of the things that people are posting about why they had bandages on their faces and the meaning behind it and all that stuff. Guys, get over it. He was just putting together choreography. Well, it was based upon I can't feel my face when I'm with you, so they're bandaged because like maybe it's like a burn or something like that.
There's actually it's just like he was like leading up to like this like whole thing.
Yeah,
I don't know if you read the article about it, but like there's a whole storyline that goes all the way back to like the Blinding Lights video or something. So it was really well thought out. It wasn't the most exciting halftime show in my opinion, but it was okay. It was better.
Right.
Like,
I think part of that has to do with COVID protocols, right? He couldn't bring anybody else.
Yep.
Which I don't even know the last time that's happened, where it was just
there's always a
one
guest. Yeah, there's like
sole
always someone else. Yeah.
at least one other person.
Yeah, did you know that he spent $7 million of his own money
Yeah, I saw
to get
that.
all that stuff there because
Yeah.
he had to bring in his own people and he
Yeah.
had to all those people that were in the little thing. I thought maybe he wasn't ever going to go down to the field, and I thought it was because of COVID and stuff. And so I'm glad that he gave. I'm glad that he went down there. I would have liked to see him down there more because I thought it was kind of weird when he was up there. But yeah, I thought it was entertaining, and the choreography when they got down on the field, that was pretty sick. It kind of reminded me of like the Step Up movies, like like it was pretty cool. I was thoroughly tantalized.
And he just does some bops too. Like, come on. Like,
Oh yeah,
he's got some jams. Come on.
I like him.
Come on.
I like him.
Come on.
The Weeknd is a solid artist, and
Yeah.
I think he brought a very good show.
That's the thing. Like, at the Super Bowl, you have to have someone who's like known by a lot of people, who has a lot of hits, just like to bring everyone in. Just like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Resolute's hating on all my takes tonight.
Trash halftime.
I literally think that everything has come out of my mouth.
You don't know a
He's been
trash
like,
halftime until you
"Nah."
go back and watch the Black Eyed Peas halftime show.
Stop it.
Did you like that one
Beyonce
too?
And Bruno Mars.
Stop it.
Ooh,
It
that
probably
one
wasn't a great halftime show, but they are national treasures.
Black Eyed Peas. Oh yeah, I love the Black Eyed Peas, but they were awful.
National treasures. I don't know if I can go that far.
Where is the love? Where
I
is
don't
the
know if I-
love?
Where is the love? The love.
Yeah,
The
get off
Going
love.
back to the Bucks, one more thing. I think one thing that I would like to see them do during this offseason is pick up a young, hungry quarterback out of the draft to learn from Tom Brady and build him up from there.
Why do I feel like Brady would hate that?
I don't think you know what we've seen from Brady in the past, right? He's very willing to take a pay cut to increase the team. He knows he's on the back end of his career. They're not bringing somebody in to replace him. It's, hey, teach this guy, become the coach that you are,
Maybe, yeah.
leave us with a lasting legacy. And I think if he took in that coaching role, walked him through everything he did, and talked about like the mindset off the field and bring that onto the field, but how he presents himself on the field, works with his offensive line, works with his wide receivers, tight ends, everybody. If you can teach Brady's mindset to someone young and hungry to be in the NFL, once Brady leaves, there is no change. It's
Mhm.
going to be the exact same team because Brady literally planted the seed himself. And I think a lot of teams don't do that. I think a lot of teams, they trade away and then they get someone who's young and talented, which obviously they have to be, right, to make it to the NFL.
Right.
Young and talented, but set in their ways. And I would love to see them bring in somebody that was ready to learn. Right. I'll take
It'll be.
it.
And with the first overall pick, well, I guess it would be the 32nd
30.
overall pick.
I'll take it. I'll go 32nd.
But that is an interesting idea, and it'll be interesting to see if at this point in his career Tom would take that role, because we all know that Tom made the calls along with Belichick in New England, and it was very obvious he was not happy that Jimmy G came in, that they drafted Jimmy G, because he got rid of him pretty quick.
What was
Yeah.
he? Was he a
I think-
third round pick? Was
Yep,
Jimmy-
and-
yeah.
And Ryan Mallett was a pick for them out of Arkansas that they thought about the same thing. Maybe we grew up in here, and he got rid of him too.
I think
So
it was just
it'll be
too
interesting.
early.
Yeah.
In Brady's career, which is the thing, right? You can't go too early, because let's say you train him and then he either takes your spot, they trade away, and he's contrasting. It's too early. I think he knows
knew that was
he's
coming.
really only got a couple more years left in the NFL,
Oh, absolutely.
in the
Yeah.
show. That's a little bit too.
We got a big Jimmy G fan in the chat.
No, I know what he's talking about.
Oh, Jimmy
It's
G's
a-
trash.
Jimmy G is trash.
He's absolute trash, and
He
I
had so
love that
much
he's with the
potential.
49ers.
so much potential.
So I think that's enough on the Super Bowl. I think it's time.
Speaking of trash,
I think we take care of the elephant in the room here. That's Mr. Wilson. He's kind of outspoken
I don't
I
like
wish-
talking
today.
saying trash in reference.
I wish
to
I will. Oh, I will. Can I start it off? I wish I had a replay button for this, like I do on my streams, and I can replay when I said a couple weeks ago that we should start moving on these trade rumors. Yeah, like I told you guys that he's becoming more and more like in his own head, kind of like almost like a toxic environment kind of thing and all that kind of stuff. And I blame this 1,000% on Golden Tate. Golden Tate.
What?
I was like, I thought you were about to say
This is
Sierra.
so-
and I was like,
this is-
Just
okay.
listen. Give me your ear for a second.
I know where this is going.
Golden Tate single-handedly, through other actions, ruined Russell Wilson's first marriage. Because Russell Wilson's first marriage is done, he goes out on the market. When he went on to the market, he was bought by a girl named Sierra. And ever since he's been with Sierra, he's been getting perms. He's been doing New Year's Eve party shows and going to New York with her or LA or wherever she was. He's looked like he doesn't even care when he's sitting next to Roger Goodell and she's over there schmoozing him. I hate it. I hate Ciara Russell Wilson. Quit perming your hair, dude. Like, just wear it. I want to see that nice fade again with the kind of flat top look to it and that solid beard that he had when he lost to Tom Brady. Like, I want the Wisconsin Russ back.
You see what Spencer said?
What did he say?
It's all Future's fault.
It's all Future's fault.
Because Sierra and
You know
Future
what?
were dating. If you go even farther back, you could.
If Future
It
would have
all
just stayed with
connects.
Sierra,
It all
yeah,
connects.
that's true. I blame Future. His music's trash now.
You know,
Hot take.
I think part of it is, I think
Keep a
Russell
woman in his
Perry, you know, he's a tremendous athlete. He's gonna put himself in the best, I think, shape, mindset that he can before the season.
He's
You
a
know,
hard
and I think-
worker. Like that's
Yeah,
not
right,
the issue.
and- But I think what it is the last couple seasons he's taken some hard hits. I think he's now realizing the type of player, quarterback especially, he is. He's not going to make it to 43 in the NFL. You just can't.
You know,
The way that he plays football, you can't make it to 43. It's just, I will eat my hat if he makes it to 43. All right. But so I think what he's doing is he's trying to set himself up as a brand for past his NFL career. He's setting himself up. He's getting himself in the right position, and that's putting more time outside of football on his plate. So I
Mhm.
think he's more concerned about his future. He's more concerned about his health and moving forward and his financial safety, which a lot of athletes blow a lot of their money, if not all their money, after they retire. I think he's just trying to be smart and putting himself into a better financial state for when he's done playing in the NFL.
Did I see something this last week about him like becoming a partner of a company or something?
Yeah, so he's a co-owner of the Sounders, and
I knew
just
that.
him and I think one of his Sounders co-owners are now partners in some startup business or something like that.
Too
Startup company.
much.
He's got a little bit of Rocky 3 syndrome. Who gets that? You guys get that reference?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can. Yeah,
Yeah, I think he's
I
getting
feel it.
really. He's in the limelight, and I think he's really feeling himself now. He's still,
We need Ivan Drago.
yeah. No, we need Mr. T to come kick his ass, and then he can go back.
Yeah, but I really think that the flip switched when Drago killed Apollo Creed, and he was like, "All right, I must go after Ivan."
Well, yeah, that one's good too. But like Rocky 3, he like loses to Mr. T because he's doing like the
Yeah.
all like soft
he's
like
too
training,
showy.
and then
yeah.
then
gotta
he gets
get into
Apollo
it.
and he goes like and trains on the beach and stuff and like
Yep.
yeah.
So do you
Faces
think
the
we
chickens.
see a surge from Russell within the next couple of years
It-
and
I-
trying to lock it down a little bit more?
I think the new OC helps a little bit because I think behind the scenes I think him and Shoddy probably
Shoddy.
butt heads a little bit. Rest in peace, Marty Schottenheimer, by the way, goat. I don't know if
Yeah.
you guys saw that today.
I saw that.
But
I don't know. He had a pretty it seemed emotional farewell to Brian.
it
when
did,
he
yeah.
was
But I think it's
doing
also
that.
just Russ being a good person in the end.
It's hard to tell. It's
but
really hard to tell with
I-
Russell what's genuine.
And then here's the thing about here's the thing about his comments from today. So today we hear that he says that he wants to get protected more or whatever. I can't remember what the exact quote was.
He's frustrated.
He's
from getting hit
frustrated.
all the time, or something.
I've been sacked 497
I'm
times.
frustrated
in the
with
last
getting-
9 seasons.
I'm frustrated with getting hit too much.
Who counts how many times they've been sacked in the last 9 seasons and comes out on
Oh, I
social
mean,
media
come
with
on.
it?
A Google
Here's the thing.
search could get you there.
Here's the thing.
You know he counted every one of them with CR. 1, 2, 3.
The offensive line wasn't that bad this year. It wasn't.
Really, honestly, not.
They got worked in the NFC champ in the wild card, but that's against the Rams. Like you got like one of the best D lines out there and the best like defensive game plans.
Yeah.
But in the regular season, they were ninth in team pass block win rate at 62%. They were in top 10 in pass blocking pretty much. So, yeah, they struggled towards it. Like definitely like towards the end of the year, the pass blocking was way better in the beginning of the year, and towards the end of the year started to struggle. But here's another thing: their offense, like we talked about this a few weeks ago, their offense just got so bland, and it required Russ just to sit in the pocket for so long, waiting for someone to get open deep downfield. They never got open. So in the NFL, you don't get rid of the ball in 3 or 4 seconds. You're done.
I don't know. I feel like part of it is, and I feel like Seattle struggled with their offensive line in the past, obviously. I mean, I think we can all agree that the 2014 or whatever, when we won the Super Bowl, that was by far his best offensive line. He's not going to probably get back to that.
And that was literally just put in our comments, like, that was the time when that we had the highest paid offensive line.
Were they actually the highest paid? Because I feel like they weren't still that good that year.
They were pretty. That was a good.
Okay.
They weren't great, but I do remember there was like 2 or 3, like J.R. Sweezy and stuff like that. Like they had huge contracts.
Max Unger.
Max Unger had a huge contract. That was the decline.
He was by far his best center he'll probably ever have.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if he keeps taking up all the money. But the point is, I think part of it is to blame him and his style of football. Again, he's one that drops back and then will gone, and he's gone. It's very hard to protect a quarterback where you don't know where he is. If you're a pocket quarterback, you know exactly where he is.
They were
3, 4, 5 feet behind you. With Russell, you could be there. Oh yeah, I'm blocking this guy. Great, blocking. And then all of a sudden he's tackled by the guy you're blocking because he ran right next to you, and the guy just threw out his 500-pound arm because he's an NFL defensive lineman and just knocked Russell off his feet. Like it's hard.
I'm sure a lot of those sacks like happened because of that, but it seems like a lot of sacks came in the pocket this year. I don't know, if I'm the only one who noticed that, but a lot of sacks came while he's standing in there for 4 or 5 seconds, and a lot of them are like end up being coverage sacks because you're only running like 2 routes, and like obviously I'm over exaggerating a little bit. I'm sure it just wasn't 2 routes going down the field, but they were deep pass concepts, and I don't know if we weren't running like check down routes, but I definitely saw a few plays, a handful of plays where you had a tight end go out to the right, open there, take a few yards. He never looked that way. He was always looking downfield. I don't know if it was like DK getting in his head too, like wanting the ball. That's another thing we can talk about, like going into next year. But just something just like went off.
He got very obsessed with making that big play.
The big play.
It's almost they're very gratifying, but it's not going to hit every single time.
It's almost like the media glorifying let Russ cook so much got in his head, and he like, oh, we're a deep ball team. That's what we're known for, so we're going to do it.
Yeah. With the let Russ cook. Like you can't go like mid-season, you got to be focused on football. You can't go out and be like, let Russ cook and come out with the cooking utensil line.
I think I think in that conversation it is obviously on both ends. Like I've talked multiple times of the same thing as Breyer. I'm tired of seeing him leave the pocket too early, all that kind of stuff and everything. But like you said, there were most definitely absolute either coverage sacks or sacks where it was just like, dude, he literally got to him in 0.2 seconds and all that stuff. But there are, I would like to see almost like, I want somebody to go through and see the percentage of times that literally you watch Tom Brady and there's multiple times where people get to him just as fast, but he knows how to get rid of the ball, which doesn't get him hit. Like if you're going to complain about getting hit, you also need to get better in some of the situations where you could have saved yourself probably a third of those hits because you know how to throw the ball away. You know how to check down, all that kind of stuff. Like you got to be able to do that. And I get maybe you're too short to see those routes. Well, then you got to figure out how to do it another way and all that kind of stuff. And there are times that he rolls literally into a sack if he would have just stepped up in the pocket, which could be a knock on his height. Maybe he can't step on as well and see everything. But to me, I think that it goes both ways. And even though, like, obviously the interviews go to the quarterbacks, like nobody goes to the right tackle in interviews and all that kind of stuff. But dude, that stays in-house. Like You don't see your lineman coming out and saying, I'm tired of Russell Wilson scrambling too much and causing me to look bad because I just got a sack put on my name because he literally ran into my end that I was pushing upfield so he could step up in a pocket and make a pass and all that kind of stuff. Like, that's got to stay in house. And my hot take with this is I think that there's a strong possibility we see Russell Wilson in another jersey, if not soon, but in the future. Because we said the same thing. You talk about the Legion of Boom, and when we dismantled that and all that kind of stuff, the main reason they took everything down was because they weren't all going on the same path. They started to get vocal in the media. They started doing all that kind of stuff. If they stay with that same kind of characteristics and game plan that they had with it, Russell's running down that same path, and it might be less of a headache for them to just get rid.
I don't see him leaving out this year. I do see him. Like,
Stop it. No, gosh, he ruined it for me, guys.
If you're going to talk about Watson go to Seattle, I can shut that down right away.
Kick him out.
I can shut that down. I can shut that down right away.
Okay,
But
then I'm going to come right back at you.
let's do it.
Because
Okay.
you want to hear something that's picking up steam, and the tweet was deleted, but it still is out there in the Twitter world. Just like I'm going to say, nobody starts to randomly call a team and ask about their quarterback if they don't know that there's some kind of hint of him being available. As much as the Seahawks want to say he's completely out there, nobody calls the Angels and says, we'll take Mike Trout. Like, they've fielded multiple phone calls about it. Like, that's not just a random act. But I have from some deleted tweets and all that kind of stuff. I got this from my brother who got it from Barstool, who you can laugh at as much as you want, but I've seen a lot of stuff that they say, and it usually comes true. But there is some steam being picked up for that, and there's a possibility of looking at, what did it say? Russell Wilson to the Texas for Deshaun Watson, 2 firsts, a second, and a 5th. And then we would compensate some picks and stuff too. But I mean, I think that is a beautiful trade for both sides.
That would be very interesting to see.
A new setting for.
Are you calling Cap? I think he's calling Cap. I think that's what he's trying to say.
That's totally fine, because I have it recorded of Breyer saying that Russell Wilson won't play until 43, and so once he gets to his 40-year-old season, I'm going to bring it back, and he's going to eat that Cougar hat right there. I'm going to cut it up for him and give him to him, and then I'm going to pull up this clip too and just make a meme out of it, and everybody's going to laugh at Brooks for about 10 years in a row. So it's totally fine with me, and then I'm going to be living the joyful life because the Seahawks are going to be running with Deshaun Watson at the helm, and I think that we get back to a future promise. It's totally cool.
By that point, the Seattle Mariners are going to be World Series champs, and who cares about football at that point?
That is possibly true.
There is no way that is happening.
Why?
There's no way.
Tell me why that wouldn't be a good trade for Houston, though.
Houston would want to give up that many first rounds for a 32-year-old quarterback.
I'm sure that in that situation, like, obviously you could probably take off some of those picks. It's probably not going to be that good of a package for us. But I'm sure in that situation.
Okay, all right. On the other end,
like trade swaps.
Not even talking about if the trade is possible or not. What does getting Watson accomplish for us? He's going to be making more money than Russ over the next 3-4 years. So it's not fixing the cap issue.
Right, exactly.
Watson is also he's also very very injury prone. And I brought this point up to another buddy of mine. People don't realize how like nice it is to have a quarterback this durable who plays every single game, and you don't have to worry about his availability for the game.
Yeah, definitely. I'll give that to you.
That's huge. And Watson literally, I see every game I watch him, he's like getting banged up, getting hit, gets hurt, maybe is out for a game. Like, what is getting Watson accomplish?
Yeah, and I agree with that. I personally think that if Russ keeps going down this road that I see and envision and starts to get into this egotistical superstar kind of thing, I think that it's just a swap and it's new territory for both of them. And that's
Spence, don't forget about David Johnson.
Definitely not. Absolutely not the trade that I like. If I could choose a trade for Russell Wilson, that's not probably the one that I absolutely choose. Yeah. Because like we talked about, I would love to free up that cap space. Like in my Madden playing mind, I would love to trade Russell Wilson for the Trevor Lawrence pick and just run with that and free up all this cap and all that kind of stuff. But obviously that's
Playing a
not super.
dangerous game. You're
That's
playing
not
a
super-
dangerous
I don't
game.
That's not
Yeah.
super. That's
When
why I
you-
said my Madden mind. Get off
Okay.
of my back.
Okay.
Obviously, I think something that would be a little bit interesting to me is maybe go and make a deal for like a Sam Darnold. I like a guy that has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, and I think he's a good quarterback. All that kind of stuff, but like I said, I mean, I don't really envision. I don't think it's ever really going to happen. Russ probably isn't going to leave and all that kind of stuff. But I really want all this cleaned up. Like, I don't want to be that team that has somebody who's constantly in the media
Mhm.
and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's the road he's starting to go down, and I hate that.
We'll see,
I don't
but
know.
if
I don't know.
like the only trade is like for Watson, like I would hate it, but I'd rather take Watson than a Darnold or a draft pick because at least he's solid and we know he can perform.
Yeah.
But there are teams out there who go 20 plus years without finding the quarterback. You're playing a dangerous
Browns.
game if you're just going for the number one pick. We don't know. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence has
Right,
lots of potential.
Definitely.
He could be a bust. Like it's such a dangerous game to play
Yeah.
when you find the franchise quarterback. So it's better to work it out with him, do what you can with him, fix that relationship, whatever you have to do. And he's probably just upset they lost in the wild card round. And yeah, he shouldn't be throwing his O-line under the bus. Like that's awful. Like he shouldn't be doing that. But in the end, I think you know what cures everything? Winning. If they start winning next year and they make a run in the playoffs, I think it's good.
Most definitely. It always cures everything. But you know what kills winning? Toxic locker rooms.
Is he really contributing
Trusting
to
your
it?
O line, that relationship between the quarterback and their O line is, I mean, it's gotta be. I trust you with my life, literally. Like the left tackle,
And yeah.
you trust that man with your life.
Mhm.
And I'll cut you off before you even get there. I'm not saying that Russ is a toxic locker room right now, and it's
Mhm.
not all kind of stuff. But I seriously that's what I see this rolling towards. Like, it's not a good start, and it's not a good thing. It's the same reason they got rid of Bennett. It's the same reason that they got rid of Sherm. It's the same reason that Earl Thomas's was a little
And
bit
he's-
different. You can't really flip off your coach from the other sideline and talk all that smack, but it's the same reason. And so I really truly could see it happening because of that reasoning and all that kind of stuff.
And I mean, he's only signed for 3 more years too. So if that does end up happening down the road over the next couple of years, you just let him walk and you grab a young guy to work with, and
You can't let Russell walk.
But
you gotta use that as trade power.
Right, that's the thing. You can't just let a guy like that walk. You can't lose it because at least at that point in time, if you're going to have to go and take a chance on a new quarterback and all that stuff, at least go and get something back for Russ that you're going to leave. So, like you said, probably wouldn't happen this year, but if he continues to go down this road, it might be a next year thing.
Next
It might
2
be
years.
a last part of his contract and all that kind of stuff. I agree with him in
Same.
the Earl thing. Like, that was pretty
100%.
frustrating. I probably wouldn't have played too, and I wouldn't have done the same thing. But I mean, I feel it. That,
Mhm.
and I thought it was hilarious. Like, but
same with Cam too. But Cam ended up playing.
Well, Cam,
Yeah.
Cam. Tough.
But I mean, I don't know. It's just it's a slippery slope, and I think that once you start to get a little bite of that fame, once you start to get a little bite of that glam life that he's getting with CR, once you start to get a little bite of that negativity that you bring into a locker room, it blooms and it blossoms, and that's not who I want leading my team. Like, I'm glad that I'm not a super Chiefs fan because I don't like the way that their defense carries themselves. I personally, did I like the way that Michael Bennett carried himself on the defense and all that kind of stuff? Not necessarily. I hated when we got to that time when we literally had dudes climbing in the stands to try and fight fans. Like, I hated that look to us, and I don't want us to get back to it. But like you said, winning does cure everything. But I think from the past, I think that winning cures it, and it covers it for so long, and then it rears its ugly head when you start to win it, and you look bad. I mean, for multiple years, like, people will be like, "Oh, there's a Seahawks fan. What are you gonna do? Crawl into the stands and fight me?" And all kind of, like, I did not like that era. Like, I like this era where we're a hardworking team, a fair team, and all that kind of stuff, and we work our buns off and all that kind of stuff. I don't want to see us go back down that slope.
But I also hate seeing going into a game not knowing if we're going to get good Russ or bad Russ, and I miss the era of play that team had. But I definitely, the mentality that they brought and the swagger tipped the line to cockiness, and I think they needed better leadership, which I think Russ is now at. I
Yeah.
think if you pluck Russ from 2020 and put him back in 2016, and I think he brings a better control into the locker room that hopefully maybe keeps that team together a little bit longer, and keeps everybody's heads cooled down a little bit. I think Russ is too perfected. I think this was a slip. I'm tired of getting hit so much, or whatever the exact quote was. I think it was a slip. He's too perfected with all of his post-game with all of his post-game conferences, all of his interviews, everything. He's very cut and dry, says the right thing, go Hawks at the end. Like, he's very perfect.
And the quote was taken a little bit out of context because he did say that, oh, I need to get better too. So he did bring himself into like the issue too. So it's not just him going out and saying, "Oh, my line sucks."
For sure, and they do that all the time. And I think even in that exact same interview and all that stuff, like he even said like, "I want to be a Hawk for life," all that kind of stuff. But like you said, he's always been perfected and said the right thing and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden now he starts to slip these things in. But that's the Seahawks' decision. Before it was, I'm a Hawk for life and all that stuff. Now he's throwing in this, but that's up to them kind of thing. Or I'm tired of getting hit, man. Seriously, who drops? Well, I mean, my team and I have seen that we've been sacked 437 times in the last. Like, seriously, dude, you don't see a single other quarterback saying that. And do you know how many times Sam Darnold's been hit? He sees ghosts on the field because he gets hit so much. Like, it happens to everybody and all that stuff. But like you said, I hope it's just a slip, and I hope that he's back to it and all kind of stuff. But like I said, I do not want to see that slope, and I don't want to see fame get to his head and all that kind of stuff. Like, I want him to go find a nice country girl, that wears pigtails. I want cornrows and all that kind of stuff, and I want Golden Tate thrown in jail along with Future.
To go now, okay, let's go full circle here. What the Hawks need to do, they need to replicate what the Bucks did.
Yeah,
we're going all the way back.
Full circle.
Yeah. We're going full circle because what the Bucks did, that's Pete Carroll football. They pounded the rock. They flew around on defense. They let the defense control the game. Because the defense was able to give the ball to the offense a lot of time. The offense took control of time possession. That's what they need to do. So if they get back to like what they used to do, running the ball well with 2 or 3 backs who can all run it well, and then hopefully the defense continues to play like they did at the end of the year because they played great.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should be okay. Bust. Do you want me to name all the people who we drafted Christine Michael in front of?
No, I did not.
Please don't.
I can do that for you.
If he wouldn't have had glass bones, I think he would have been something kind of special. But
he didn't get hurt that much, did he?
That's a conversation. I thought he was hurt a lot.
He got hurt repetitively over the first 2 seasons.
Yeah, and then after that, it was just like it's done. Yeah,
I think his confidence was
just
fell.
You shook. But I think it. I don't know. It'll be. I don't know. Personally, in my mind, also too, like I say, I play a lot of Madden, and I love how things switch up in Madden, and I love seeing people switch teams and all that kind of stuff. So, like, I love the shakeups that are happening. I love Goff going to Detroit. I love kind of Stafford coming to the Rams because I think and I've said this multiple times. I think Stafford's a really good quarterback on a really bad franchise for a really long time. So it's kind of scary to see him go to an interdivision rival that literally beat us in the playoffs and all that stuff. Like, they got better. So it's going to be really interesting to see. And they did it with literally a quarterback that got knocked out and then another quarterback who could barely grip the ball and throw it and all kind of stuff. So with Stafford, like, that's a scarier offense and everything. I'd love to see some shakeups, man.
It's a scary division for sure. Do you guys want me to tell you who was drafted right after Christine Michael? Do you want to know? Are you sure?
I know I'm going to hate myself for it, but I would love to hear it. I know I've read it recently.
Travis Kelce.
But once again, it's the same situation where you never knew that was going to happen.
And then you know who was drafted after Malik McDowell a couple years later? Buda Baker.
Well, yeah.
Well,
that one was tough.
That's all right. Go Cougs.
That one was tough. Get that garbage out of here.
Sorry, Barry. How many Cougs were in the Super Bowl?
Hey, I don't care, man.
1. How many dogs were in the Super Bowl?
Let's go Cougs.
Wait, there was a Coug in the
There
Super
was a
Bowl?
Coug. I didn't
Oh,
recognize the
that's-
name. I don't think he played.
That's right.
Let's go Cougs.
That's right. I forgot that guy streaked across the field.
Bro, you know that the count of days since Wazoo beat UW hit 3,000 today.
Dang, man.
3,000 days.
What about
since-
every other sport?
Since what? We can start naming them.
For another time, get off of that. Break it up, you two. Put me in the middle of you. But drag my. I actually control Zoom, don't I? Drag me over here.
To what? Where are you dragging yourself?
I put myself on the bottom.
Oh, that doesn't change on my screen though.
Okay, that's all right. But no, I think it's. I don't know. Like I said, I like to see shake up. I like to see some movement. I like to see some moves being made, and it'd be interesting to see what kind of package you could get back for him. But all in all, if we can get Russ to get back dialed in, and we can get him back on the right track of making sure that we're not going to the media and saying stuff and everything, and continue to be a leader in the locker room, all that stuff. Cool.
Winning cures all. We start
Winning,
winning.
definitely. Mhm.
It'll be all
does.
good.
I
It'll be
agree,
all
but
good.
but you can only cure so much. At points, you can get to an uncurable state. Look at
All I know is that Michael Crabtree's a sorry receiver.
look at the Texans.
I don't know.
Are we comparing the Seahawks to the Texans?
I'm just saying, look at the dismantling that they basically do of themselves.
The Texans just fired their strength coach that all the players love too. Did you see that?
Oh my gosh!
Like, what are they doing?
One
There's
thing
a
after
lot of
another.
just bad news, but I would not want to be attached to the Texans organization right now.
They're toxic, and they've had a lot of talent for a good couple years in a row now that they've now started to get rid of, but they just couldn't do anything because of all the toxicity.
Okay, let's wrap it up.
I love it.
It's been like an hour. We definitely ranted for a
We rambled.
long time. We rambled.
It's all
Alright.
good.
But it was a
This is your guys' podcast. You can do whatever.
It was
you
really-
want.
Yeah,
it
and
was
basically
really-
everybody stayed the whole time.
it was
We got
really
two
our
fans.
last. It was our last. Oh, Spence. I think it was the equipment manager. I don't think it was the strength coach. It was equipment manager that I was talking about. Well, technically, it's the last overreaction Tuesday of the season,
Aw.
guys. We don't knock off football for another. Hey, we got big. Should we start talking about Big Sky football? They're doing a spring season.
No, I can care less about
Go-
that. Baseball's just right around the corner.
Absolutely.
Go
not.
Eags. Go Eags.
Baseball is right around the corner, and I am so pumped for it. What did we say? February 21st, we start reporting all that stuff.
Pitchers and catchers report on Wednesday, a week from tomorrow.
Okay, I will give you that I could care less about that though. Like they literally do nothing in that. Like it doesn't
Come on, man.
it doesn't make a difference for me. Once the full team gets there, then we get excited.
But maybe our niche could be Big Sky football, and we can bring in the Big Sky crowd.
I think that's a great show for you to do.
Like just me.
Yeah.
Me. Hey guys, welcome to the Big Sky Football Report. Today we're going to talk about how Weber State upset Southern Utah.
Jeez, I love it.
All right,
Oh man.
Mitch,
All
sign,
right.
sign us off, baby.
For all of our viewers that stayed with us the majority of the time when we said nonsense and it was spewed out of us and we had some tantalizing takes, all that kind of stuff.
Tantalizing.
We want to say thank you. Thank you to our loyal viewers for always remaining safe in the car and having your hands at 10 and 2, wearing your seatbelt, and once again for taking this exit with us this week. And we'll see you on the I-5 corridor next week.